Number 24 CR 1052, the defendant pleaded guilty to complicity to breaking and entering, a felony of the 5th degree. Both cases were referred for a pre-sentence report and victim impact statement and were set for sentencing today.
Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, I'll be brief. I know we had conversations in chambers, but Your Honor, my client is a drug addict, and he lies and he steals to support his habit. Your Honor, he's got 2 young children. He is involved in their lives. I know that he wants to be there for them as they grow up. And he realizes that his actions, not only his drug addiction, but his actions of stealing from people is only going to either kill him with the drug addiction or land him in prison for a long time with the crimes he's committing. He has told me he's committed to sobering up. He doesn't want to live this life anymore. He doesn't want to keep going down this path. He's been in county now for several months. I've met with him several times. He pled by information on these cases, Your Honor. He took responsibility right away. He wasn't about to challenge anything. He knew what he did was wrong, and he wanted us to take responsibility for it. I'm asking the court to consider a community control sanction in this matter. Your Honor, I know that he's been assessed for NeoCap. However, separately, my office had him assessed from New Horizons, I believe. New Day Recovery. And a letter was supplied to the court. Now, that letter was dated about a month ago. To refresh the court's recollection, we were actually set for a sentencing on the original case when a second case came down. So the sentencing was moved to this date. That being said, I was informed that a bed is still available for him there if the court will consider it. It's a residential inpatient treatment program. But regardless of what direction the court may go on this case, I'm going to respectfully ask the court to consider a community control sanction with treatment for Mr. Lishing so he can address his drug problem and hopefully come out sober so he could be a good father to his 2 young children. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Lishing, what do you want to tell me before I sentence you?
Right now, I can say I messed up. I messed up real bad. This isn't who I am. It's never been who I am. I got caught into the drug addiction. Just got me to a point to where
The defense immediately frames this case as an addiction problem instead of a criminal mindset, hoping the court views every offense through the lens of dependency rather than deliberate choice. That strategy is designed to shift the discussion from punishment toward rehabilitation before sentencing even begins.
couldn't even provide for my own self, let alone my children. And I took it upon myself to go out of my way to take the easy route out, which I never would have done any other time if it wouldn't have been for the drugs. I'm just asking that you at least give me an opportunity to show you that I'm not that person, that I can, I can be trusted, I can be, a better person, a citizen of the community.
Well, the problem is it looks like you're that person.
It does, and the only thing I can do is apologize to.
Because you've been playing around with the drugs for a quarter century, haven't you?
It's been about 4 years
Well-
for the heavy stuff at least.
Well, I mean, you got drug abuses going back to '02.
Those are all marijuana charges.
Well, marijuana is a drug, isn't it?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Along with some domestics and a assault. Go ahead.
Like Mr. Watson said, I have two small children, and I don't want to see them to grow up the way that I grew up. Which I know right now it hasn't been going the best. I'm very active in their lives. The mother, unfortunately, is not Her mother is actually taking care of them right now on her own, which is I feel terrible about. Just asking that give me the opportunity to go to this New Day recovery and prove that I can, you know.
What happened, you were on intervention going back to 21, first in Cuyahoga, then in Lake County. So what happened with that?
So with Lake County, I went to the Alpha House in Oberlin. I was there for 11 months. The program 6 months. I was there for 11 months. I was their house manager, so I was, you know, helping guys getting accustomed to the house that was out there. I left there. I moved in this with a person that was associated with that house to kind of try to rebuild my life outside of the sober house. I messed up, and then I actually messed up. I got arrested back in August of last year. We did Concord Pines, which I also finished. The only thing that I didn't finish with Concord Pines was the aftercare, because with my work schedule, it coincided to where I couldn't, they wanted me to take off 3 hours every Wednesday for a job that I had just gotten, and the work wasn't going for it. So it just kind of coincided. So I came back here, admitted to it. They took me off probation. Now the one in Cleveland, I'm still on probation for. They're just waiting for me to pop up so we can get this all handled, and then go on with whatever you decide to go with today, I guess.
So what's the point of treatment?
The point of treatment
Right,
for me,
right.
right now, the point. So I have a lot of mental health issues, a lot of trauma issues that I definitely need to get counseling for. And
Wasn't that the point of your intervention?
yes,
So it didn't work.
I really didn't. I didn't give it the chance that I should have.
Why not?
If you to be totally honest with you, I was trying to save my wife's life, and without thinking about my own.
What do you mean?
So she's very, very, very bad. She's very, very, very bad active addiction right now. Nobody's seen her in almost 7 months.
I mean, what can you do about that?
Well, that's what I couldn't understand. I didn't understand that at first. That no matter what I did, I wasn't going to be able to save her life. But we've been together for multiple years. We have children. We had, you know, a home together. We've lost everything together. And I thought that if I could save her, I could save myself. And it just did not work the way that I thought it was going to.
Well, you were given multiple chances on this intervention, right? And then on probation, and none of it worked. And the result of which, in May of this year, you go on this spree, breaking into people's cars and garages, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So am I now going to suddenly believe that there's some magic in the treatment, that the treatment's going to be no different than the last treatment you went? All the treatment's the same, right? Doesn't mean shit if you don't follow it.
If you don't follow it, no, absolutely.
Okay, so you've demonstrated to me that you don't want to follow it. Because no sooner do you get booted off of probation after you served, on February 7th, you were given 101 days with credit for 81. So that means on February 27th, you walked out of the jail, and less than 2 months later, less than 3 months later, you're on this,
The defendant's statement focuses almost entirely on identity. He insists these crimes do not represent who he truly is, hoping the court separates the man from the conduct. That distinction matters because sentencing often depends on whether the judge believes the behavior is temporary or deeply rooted.
spree of taking other people's stuff. So tell me what that was all about.
That was once again, it was my active addiction. When I left treatment, I had nothing. I had nowhere to go. I was basically I've been on my own for a very long time. And with,
Well, but you're 43 years old.
yes, sir.
Okay. So who else were you running around with stealing people's stuff?
There was a few people, just the people that I met around in Painesville.
Okay.
I mean, if you want name specifics or,
Well, I asked you who they were.
so there was a female named Caitlin Bank. There was James Lavelle. I don't know what his actual, they call him Bucket. I don't know what his actual name is.
Bucket?
Yeah, that's, they call him Bucket. That's what his nickname is. And there was a dude named David Etler. He was one of the other ones.
So you 5 people organized this little rampage through people's cars or what?
Well, so they were already doing it, and they just kind of brought it to my attention that money could be made.
How is it they brought it to your attention?
Well, they were talking about it, saying that they were going and doing this and doing that, and they were like, there's money like money can be made through this, and I was like, me being in active addiction and being stupid, I agreed to go with them one time, and then this is what
One time?
twice actually. Sorry.
Okay. And then what did you do with all this loot that you gathered up?
I got caught with it.
Okay, but what about these other mysterious people that
Oh, they were
you had to
selling-
turn over everything to?
They were selling it to drug dealers or the guy that got caught with the gun. They sold the gun to him. Pretty much just whoever they could get to buy it to get money.
Well, who did you owe $12,000 to?
So that was a debt between my wife and a drug dealer that she was involved with.
Okay,
It was me really trying to dwindle down what she owed so at this point she's out there selling herself to try to, she's being forced to sell herself to make up for the money that she owes. I thought that then this is where it comes back into me trying to save her life again. Like I thought that maybe I could at least somehow put a dent into what she owes so she doesn't have to live that kind of life anymore. But like I said, that nobody's seen her in months. Nobody knows where she is. Nobody can get in contact with her. So I don't.
so who did you pay then?
I went to a dude named you call him Tone. Is Antonio Tias? I think is what his name is.
And how many times did you pay Tone?
Twice.
And how much did you pay him?
$400 the first time and $275 the second time.
Is this money that you stole?
Some was and some wasn't. Some was.
Where
my
did you
own.
get the money you didn't steal?
I have more. I was working at one point. I did have some money in the bank. Wasn't very much, but I was trying to give everything I could to make sure that she was alive, that she was safe, and then she just kind of disappeared on me. Like I said, nobody's seen her since. So, last I heard, she was in Cleveland somewhere.
Okay, how is it that you figured out that this Tone had his hooks in her?
She told me.
And she told you where to find him?
He's around Painesville. He's everywhere around out here.
Okay. So is that why you started stealing stuff out of people's cars?
Some of it, yes, and some of it to support my own drug habit, yes.
Okay. So my guess is most of it was to feed your own habit. Because if it were to get her out of hock, you'd have taken all that money and given it to Tone, right? I mean, if I believe any of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay? If I believe any of it. Right. Or it could be that you're just a thief, that you don't want to work, that you want to just sponge off of other people.
I've always worked.
Well, then why weren't you working?
For once again, the active addiction.
Well, you've been playing with drugs at least pretty heavily for the last 4 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you work during those 4 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you work if you were addicted?
I was a functional addict, I guess you can say. I was going to work, but I was going to work high.
The discussion now becomes far more strategic because the judge stops debating addiction and starts examining decision-making. Instead of asking whether treatment exists, he questions why earlier opportunities produce the same outcome.
I was working for Polychem on Heisley Road.
All right. So that gets me right back to the treatment issue. You were given opportunities in Cuyahoga and Lake to stop doing what you were doing, and you didn't show much initiative to do it. So once again, why should I put you on probation and put you at treatment if you don't seem all that interested in it?
I mean, to be honest with you, you're right. You're absolutely right. I wasn't interested in it.
Right. And I don't understand why. I mean, if your wife is a bad addict, and you got into the heavy stuff 4 years ago, if that's true, and you pick up some felonies, right? Because you never had felonies before the Cuyahoga and this one.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't make you stop and pause and say, maybe I shouldn't do this, and maybe now I've got this chance for intervention, maybe I should take advantage of it and stop screwing around. That you weren't interested in that?
I want to say that it was a 50. I was and I wasn't. I wasn't interested in it because it wasn't the way I wanted to do it, but then I was interested in it because I didn't want to destroy my life any farther than it already was. Like I said, I did complete two other programs that were long term.
Okay, but that's fine. Okay, anybody really? I mean, anybody can complete a program.
Yes, sir.
Okay, completing a program doesn't really mean anything. Taking what you learned from the program and applying it is what means something. Otherwise, the treatment is worthless.
Yes, sir. I
I
agree.
mean, anybody can go over to the jail treatment program, stare at the wall, and complete the program. Anybody can do that. But it doesn't mean anything if once you get out, you don't apply what you learned. You seem to have no interest in applying what you learned. I mean, the only reason you're not out thieving right now is because you're locked up. Otherwise, that's what you would be doing, because that's who you are. Now, these other 4 people that you were working with in this little criminal enterprise, where did you meet them such that you joined their little gang?
On Morris Avenue, right here in Painesville.
Okay, what were you doing on Morris Avenue when you happened to meet these people?
Just hanging out at the house, actively doing drugs.
Whose house?
James Lavelle's.
Okay. And when did you meet Lavelle?
I actually met him through my wife while she was in her active addiction.
How old are your kids?
4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Yes, sir.
So you prioritized your partying over them.
Yes.
Since the oldest one was born,
Sadly, yes.
and then there's another one born, and you're still out there doing whatever you want to do. You seem like a very selfish person.
I feel like a selfish person.
Anything else you want to tell me?
Only other thing I'd have to say is that just I have an apology for the people that were in this case that nobody deserved to be stolen from. You know, I feel terrible for what I did.
Did you ever have anything stolen from you?
Yes, I was just getting to that. I've had lots of stuff stolen from me, and I know how it feels. And the fact that I still went ahead and did it, there's no excuse for it.
Okay, well, what does that matter now? I mean, you already did what you did.
I mean, honestly, it really doesn't. I just, I just feel like it needs to be said. And the only other thing I would have to say is just an apology to the court, because you shouldn't have had to waste your time on me being stupid.
I mean, I'm sitting here anyway, so don't really, there's no time issue as far as I'm concerned, but this, so you stole this gun, but you didn't know you stole the gun?
I didn't steal a gun.
Who stole it?
It was the David Etlin. He stole it.
In the garage?
Yes.
Were you in the garage?
Yes, sir.
You stole the gun?
I was with him. Yes.
The hearing takes a decisive turn once the defendant begins identifying the people involved in the theft ring. At that point, the discussion expands beyond isolated bad decisions and starts looking like organized criminal behavior.
All right, have a seat, Ms. Wood.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state is recommending a period of community control sanctions with local jail time, as well as a recommendation for NeoCap. These instances victimize a lot of different people. The defendant was going into several cars in the area where his wife's mother lives, near where his children are residing. He created a huge inconvenience for many people, stealing credit cards, purses, wallets that contained medical cards, insurance cards, driver's license paperwork, pay stubs, an iPhone, a huge inconvenience for a lot of people who had to wonder where their property went, deal with the banks and canceling credit cards, putting freezes on their accounts to make sure that money wasn't taken from them. And the defendant acted in a group with other people to victimize several different individuals in these cases. I think that the court can make the finding that this was organized criminal activity. The defendant stated there was a group of them that went car shopping, and he was with another person that went into...
Car shopping. Is that what you were doing, car shopping?
That's what they call it. Yes.
I love that term. Go ahead. Car shopping. I've gone car shopping before to buy a car. Okay, go ahead. Unbelievable.
He has a history of criminal convictions. There's been a rehabilitation failure. He's been on supervision to 2 different courts before. So I think an appropriate recommendation would be NeoCap, to force the defendant to engage in some treatment and then take those treatment tools and apply them after and if he can successfully complete those programs. We'd also ask the items be forfeited to the law enforcement agency so they can be returned to the victims, as well as no contact with all the victims in these cases.
How much, I have 2 victim impact statements, one from a Godinez,
Yes.
and I can't tell what they're,
She had her iPhone taken.
okay, and so what's the amount she's claiming? Do you know?
I don't know if there's any restitution. The iPhone was recovered and is at the sheriff's department, which will be returned to her after the completion of this case.
It looks like there's some earbuds also.
There were earbuds recovered
Okay.
as well.
All right, and then Cropac?
Kropak was the victim who had his firearm taken
All right.
in case.
So I see a total loss of $594.99. Is that what you have?
I have no reason to dispute that amount. There was firearm, ammunition, and some cash that was taken.
Was that firearm recovered?
Not that I'm aware of. Thank you.
Have you ever had a credit card stolen before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as a result of your credit card being stolen, what did you have to do?
Cancel it. Call the credit card company and have it canceled.
Right.
And check to see if anything was bought on it, or if it was used anywhere.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report. and the victim impact statements. And I've considered what you have said, what Mr. Watson has said, what Ms. Wood has said. And I have considered all the applicable statutes, those being 29, 29, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I don't understand what treatment would do for you if you have a very recent history of going through treatment and ignoring it. You've been screwing around out in society for 25 years. None of it felony until the last few years, but causing a problem all over the place. With disorderlies, with damagings, with drugs, with assaults, with domestic violences. I don't know, I can't count how many contempts you got, so you don't have much use for the court system. When they put conditions on you, you just seem to ignore them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have all these contempts.
The judge now shifts away from specific crimes and focuses on something much broader: character demonstrated through consistent behavior. Completing treatment programs is treated as the easiest part of recovery, while applying those lessons after release becomes the real standard.
And you ignored Judge Lucci and Judge Ruppel and their intervention orders. So what good does any of this do with regard to you?
Are you talking on the treatment matter? Or,
Well, the person you are is a person who's been in trouble for 25 years.
yes, sir.
Who routinely ignores whatever he has to do in order to get himself out of trouble. And then when you get felonies, you ignore the terms that are placed upon you. So what good? Why would I beat my head against the wall again?
I can understand why, you wouldn't trust anything that I'm saying. I'm just asking for the opportunity.
It's not even trusting what you're saying, it's trusting what you've done.
Right. No,
I don't have to believe or disbelieve anything you tell me. I can look at what you've done. And you have objectively ignored everything that Judge Gall told you downtown and Judges Lucci and Ruppel told you here. You just don't give a shit. You're going to do whatever you want to do. Instead of working, you're going out stealing from people. With 4 other bandits. Now you have, as I've mentioned over and over again, failed on community control recently to the point where you were on intervention. There were multiple failures resulted in a conviction, and then you violated probation. You were operating with these other 4 fees, feeding at least 1 other, maybe 3 other thieves by what you've done. So I'm going to find that you're not at this point amenable to community control. On the 675 case, On count one, I'm going to sentence you to 11 months in prison. Count two, 11 months in prison. Count four, 11 months in prison. Or count three, 11 months in prison. Count four, 180 days in jail. With credit for 134 days. On 1052, I'm going to sentence you to 11 months in prison. Each of the counts in 675 are consecutive to each other, and that case is consecutive to 1052. And these sentences, these consecutive sentences, are necessary to protect the public from future crime by you, as been demonstrated by your activity, and to properly punish you. And they are not disproportionate to the seriousness of the crimes. And at least two of these offenses, all of these offenses, in essence, were committed as part of a course of conduct, and the harm caused by these multiple offenses are such that no single prison term adequately reflects the seriousness of your conduct. And your history of criminal conduct demonstrates that they are necessary to protect the public. When you get out, you might be on post-release control for 2 years with conditions. If you violate the conditions, the parole authority could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If it's a new felony, you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which will be the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. There's restitution ordered to Cr1me in the amount of $594.99. The costs are assessed, the items are forfeited, and any remaining counts are dismissed. Anything else, Ms. Wood?
From the judge's perspective, treatment has never been the missing piece. Commitment has. That's why every explanation is tested against documented behavior instead of emotional appeal. The defendant asks the court to believe his future will be different, while the record suggests the opposite. Once a judge concludes that past conduct is the strongest predictor of future conduct, the conversation stops being about hope and starts becoming entirely about protecting the public from repeated risk. The sentencing decision reflects far more than punishment for individual charges. The court evaluates the entire pattern of conduct, including repeated supervision failures, organized theft activity, and the defendant's willingness to recruit or operate alongside others for personal gain. That combination signals a level of criminal behavior that probation is no longer expected to correct. Consecutive sentences are not imposed simply because multiple offenses exist. They are reserved for situations where a single sentence would fail to reflect the seriousness of the conduct or adequately protect the community. The judge makes it clear that this isn't viewed as one isolated mistake, but as the latest chapter in an escalating cycle. By rejecting community control, the court effectively concludes that previous alternatives have already been exhausted without producing meaningful change. The closing moments reinforce the central lesson of the entire hearing. Every legal finding is carefully connected to the defendant's history rather than emotion, ensuring the sentence rests on objective factors that can withstand review. Restitution, forfeiture, financial obligations, and post-release supervision are all structured to address different consequences of the crimes, not merely the prison term itself. The judge's reasoning sends a broader message that rehabilitation requires consistent action long before sentencing, not persuasive words delivered at the final hearing. By the time the proceeding ends, the court has drawn a clear line between regret and accountability. One reflects how a person feels after getting caught, while the other is measured through years of choices made when nobody was watching. That distinction ultimately determines the outcome far more than any statement made inside the courtroom.